What is going on, guys? Joey Suggs here. Welcome to another video. Welcome to a very special video. I'm not at home. This is not my typical scenery, and I'm actually in Portugal, and I thought what better way to share with you some of the high protein, lower calorie options that you can get in Portugal than doing none other than a little haul. Yes, but we're at Prozis right now. We're at the headquarters, and they have provided me with some of the best high protein, low calorie options that they have here in Portugal that we might be getting in the US soon. So it's a little bit of a teaser video as well. But the spread of options we have to try out today is quite extensive. Let's sit down. I think we're gonna start with kind of the more breakfast items, work our way into actual meals, and then finish off with desserts. So if you can do me a huge favor, one, press thumbs up on this video. It does help it get out to more people. And two, check out the links for Prozis down below. Some of this stuff you are gonna be able to get, some of this stuff maybe not for a little while. But regardless, I do have a ton of options on the site, and it's definitely worth going and checking out. Let's sit down and try some of this stuff out. All right, so we're starting off with breakfast foods, and the most breakfast food thing I can think of is muesli, but I like mine to sit in milk for a little bit. So what I did was I made all of these first, put the milk in it. We have 3 different mueslis to try, and I'm gonna let those sit while I try the other things first. And you know what? Let's start with these, I think they're brioche rolls. And to be exact, if you eat 3 of these rolls, it's 300 calories, so they're 100 calories a piece and 10 grams of protein. So yeah, definitely not bad for like a breakfast item. Here's how they're looking. They're all individually wrapped, which is pretty nice. They smell like a kind of like a chocolate pastry, and the inside looks very solid as well. Oh wow. Okay, right away, this definitely has like a Hawaiian roll type of flavor to it with the added sweetness of the chocolate. Almost like a dessert item more than like a breakfast item, but I guess a chocolate pastry is kind of a breakfast item anyways. But wow, yeah, that is definitely delicious. All right, now let's go ahead and try one of these donuts. Each donut is about 140 calories, but it only has like 3 grams of protein. So definitely more of like a lower sugar option. Ooh, yeah, that is, like it's not a chocolate donut, it's like a donut that has chocolate surrounding it, which is actually how I prefer a donut like this. Inside looks pretty solid and very moist. Actually, the chocolate isn't too sweet. It's kind of more like a dark chocolate, which I kind of prefer. But the donut is very moist. It kind of reminds me of those like chocolate donut holes that you would get as a kid that came in the little package container that you would like carry around like in a carton. Not as sweet as I was thinking, but definitely better tasting than I was thinking as well. Now, before we try the bars, let's go ahead and get the high protein waffles in. Each waffle is 120 calories with 7 grams of protein. That's pretty solid. Okay, kind of a similar vibe to the brioche buns. Each one is individually wrapped in the package, which is nice because if you just want like 1 or 2, then the whole rest of them isn't going stale. Here is how we're looking. Nice little crisp on the bottom there as well. Okay, the chocolate definitely has a little more sweetness than what the donut had. There is some like graininess in the waffle. It's not like the moistest I've ever had for sure. And the fact that you're having pretty much like a dessert for breakfast plus some added protein in there is solid as well. And now we'll go ahead and work into some of the bars. We have 4 different flavors here. A white chocolate and raspberry, a chocolate filled cookie. I believe this is chocolate, and then a chocolate caramel as well. I think it's best that we start with the chocolate. That's probably the most basic or like routine one. And all of these bars are roughly the same calories and macros. They're all about 150 calories with about 15 grams of protein. So trying the chocolate first, that's how she's looking on the inside. Okay, very interesting. The protein on the inside, it's not very dry at all. And I think the only way I can really describe it is it kind of tastes a little bit like a baked protein product. All right, up next, we're gonna do the caramel, which is actually not caramel, it's toffee. I just looked at the bar. I'm assuming the texture is gonna be very similar. And yeah, it very much is. I like toffee, but this is not the best like recreation of the toffee flavor. Probably wouldn't pick this flavor up again compared to the chocolate. Okay, now on to the chocolate filled cookie. Okay, this one's really good. It almost has like a very light chocolate taste inside, a little more on that like cookie sweeter flavor, but I think they did a really good job recreating that, almost kind of like a bit of a pastry flavor as well in there. This one's very solid. And lastly, the white chocolate raspberry, which I'm not always a fan of, so we'll see how this one goes. And actually, this is really, really good. I think they did a really good job of like a true raspberry flavor in there. There's actually pieces of raspberry in the bar as well. It's not overpowering, and it's not a lot of that artificial sweetener flavoring either in this bar specifically. I think out of all four, this one's probably my favorite. All right, we've had a little time now. Now we can start getting into the mueslis. This muesli we don't have in the States yet. I believe it's coming very soon. We have their standard muesli right now. But for like a 25-gram serving, which is probably about what I have in the bowl, maybe a little more than that. It's 103 calories, 2.5 grams of protein. There's no like added protein in this, it's just a pure muesli, but there is like the added different flavoring with less sugar, and this one is the caramel flavoring. I'll be honest, I've been eating muesli for a while, still don't really know what all is in it, but this one just seems to have the basic muesli stuff with like your oats, and the oats look to be covered in maybe like a caramel seasoning or flavor. Honestly, I don't mind that at all. The caramel is like very light, and I get a little hint of like cinnamon in there as well. Like I said, I normally don't like caramel flavored things, but this one is actually pretty good. So we have another flavor of the Magnificent Muesli. We'll put it head to head in just a bit. Now we're gonna try the one that has the protein in it. So this is their high protein muesli, and I believe this is chocolate in there as well. I think really the only difference is that it has like protein crisps in there, and it also has a little bit of chocolate chunks as well. So the macros in this one for a 20-gram serving are about 90 calories and 5 grams of protein. So definitely higher protein per calories there. And wow, I mean, these soaked up the milk a lot, which is, like I said, the way I prefer it, to sit for just a little bit. And like I said, the base muesli is pretty similar, but it has those little protein crispies in there, as well as the chocolate flakes. Yeah, this one's better. The caramel is good, but chocolate with muesli I think just goes so well. And this one, to me, it definitely tastes better, and you get the added benefit of having the protein in there. All right, now on to the last one, which this one's gonna be a tough competitor. It is white chocolate with peanut. And for a 25-gram serving of this, it's 112 calories with 3.3 grams of protein. So just a little more calories than the caramel, but with just a little more protein as well. This one you can tell is a little different. You can see the peanuts in there as well as the white chocolate flakes, even though it's kind of hard to see that with the milk. So we'll see how this one goes down. Okay, yeah, never mind. This one's definitely, as far as flavor goes, this one's definitely the best tasting one. The peanuts add a really good flavor in there. And then when you mix that with that, you still get that sweetness from the white chocolate. Whew. That is very solid. All right, so quick recap. These were delicious. Definitely would get these again. Between the high protein waffles and the donuts, definitely would go for the donuts. When it comes to the bars, this is how I kind of ranked them. The white chocolate raspberry, chocolate, the cookie, and then the toffee at the bottom. As far as the mueslis go, this would be the ranking for me, the peanut white chocolate, the high protein one, then the caramel in third. All right, now on to the frozen foods, which is what I was like probably most excited to try out. And just a quick note on the frozen food. So they have like your normal options that they make like that are not like high protein or low calorie. They have some low calorie options, and they have their high protein options. So we're gonna try a little bit of everything. Up first, we're going to do a chicken burrito. All you have to do is pop it in the microwave for just about 5 minutes and you're good to go. And the burrito itself, 385 calories, 25 grams of protein. So actually a really nice balance there. It comes in one of these sleeves that I guess helps get it a little crispy. All right, out of the sleeve and onto the plate. Here's how we're looking. It's a really good sized burrito if I were to put it back together. But I'm not, because I am about to smack this thing. Wow, yeah, that's really good. We have frozen burritos in the US, but the calories are higher. The protein is sometimes about the same, and they don't really get crispy, I guess because we're not using these like little crispy things. That is really good. Definitely has a little bit of everything in there, some peppers, some corn, some rice, some meat, some beans, some cheese. Very solid all around, and the outside does get like actually crispy like it were pressed at a store or something. All right, up next, we're gonna try the hamburger, so very American. Definitely a little higher calorie one, 710 calories, 38 grams of protein. This is a pretty good sized burger though. Let's give it a bite. Oh, I mean, this is something I've learned from being here for the past few days. The cheese in Europe is just so much better. So I guess over top of it, there's like a black bean sauce, and it actually complements it very, very well. This also came in a little crisper too, so you can tell like the bottom gets crispy, the top's still nice and soft, but like with a little crisp on the edge, and everything's cooked really, really well through. The calories are definitely higher, but if you're craving like a true burger, this is very solid. All right, up next we have the chicken lasagna. There's a little sneak peek for you right there. And in here, this is a pretty high macro one. So it's only 400 calories, but it does have 44 grams of protein in here. So that's very, very solid. This bite definitely has the cheese on the bottom, all the chicken, and even some lasagna. Let's give it a bite. Yeah, once again, the cheese, the mozzarella, very, very good. The pasta is like cooked perfectly. Very like light seasoned, it's not very overpowering, but you definitely still get that like bolognese type of sauce in there. And I think it's really impressive that they were able to do this meal with this much protein for this little amount of calories. All right, up next we have the chili con carne. So this one, very similar, well, similar container, but you do have an extra peel here so that it doesn't like pop everywhere in the microwave. Inside, you have your chili meat mixture over here and your rice over here. I'm assuming you can mix them all together or eat them separately if you want. Here's how the front of the box is looking, and you have 350 calories, 23 grams of protein, so a nice balance in there as well. And I think you get some really nice fats and carbs balance in there too. I like to eat mine all together, so that's exactly what we're gonna do. Peppers in here, meat in here, beans in here, rice in here, everything in this bite. Now that has a lot of flavor in it. It's a little different than like the chili we have in the US, because our chili is more like a soup with like a bunch of meat. This is more like, it's more like a meat like paste almost that you put over rice, but I kind of almost like this better because you can use it in I think a little more different ways and add a little more different carbs to it. But with this rice, very, very good. And all around a very flavorful and well-balanced meal as well. And lastly, for the frozen meals, this one seems pretty good already. Spicy pulled pork with mac and cheese. We'll have to see how European mac and cheese compares to US. And here is the front of the package. So this one has 580 calories, 42 grams of protein, and it's kind of branded as like their higher protein option. For this one, I kind of want to try the mac and cheese by itself to really give it a run for its money. It's definitely pretty creamy, cheesy. And yeah, the mac and cheese is, I would say, very similar to US. I think ours is normally a little thicker, but the flavor is still there. And when we try it with some pulled pork as well, yeah, very, very good. The pork is very tender, has a lot of flavor in there, just like the chili did as well. Yeah, wow, that makes for a really, really tasty meal. And I think something that like people in the US like me would like a lot. All right, so we tried all of these frozen meals. By the way, they have literally almost 50 of these different options. I only tried a couple of them. I think out of all of them, considering the calories, the macros, and the taste, my two favorite, I don't think it's possible to beat the chicken lasagna because the flavor is really, really good and the calories and macros are insane, as well as the chicken burrito. I think it's super, super flavorful and the calories and macros are very, very well balanced too. All right, time to finish up with desserts, and we might as well start with what's more dessert than a chocolate bar. Now, these chocolate bars are 150 calories, 2.1 grams of protein, so not really a protein item, more of just a lower calorie option. They look exactly like this. They're a nice little thin chocolate bar. And as you unwrap, you can see it has all the little breaks in it. I believe this has a little bit of hazelnut flavor as well, and this is milk chocolate. Yeah, definitely has some hazelnut in there. The milk chocolate literally melts in your mouth the second you put it in there. And it's literally just like low sugar chocolate, and you can't tell it's low sugar at all. This is really, really sweet. You don't get any of that artificial like sweetener flavoring in there. Just tastes like a nice, good chocolate bar. And they don't just have one option of chocolate. You can go for something like this. The zero chocolate bar has like some protein crispies in there as well. These have 130 calories per bar and like a little under 3 grams of protein. Bar itself looks almost identical, but you can kind of tell from the back of the bar that it has the crispies in there. Oh wow, and yeah, you can definitely taste and like feel the difference in consistency when you bite into it. The flavor is like almost identical, but I think I like the little difference in consistency that these offer. Between the two, I would actually probably go for the zero one, just for that added consistency and crunch you get with it. All right, up next we'll try some of the popcorn. And to be fair, I did actually try the original flavor when I first got here. It's really good. Now the calories and macros are roughly the same. It's about 100 calories and there's like maybe a gram of protein or so. But I think the most interesting thing that I've been told from the staff here is that you eat the entire bag and there's not a single kernel. I can't think of any time I eat popcorn where you're not stuck like grabbing a kernel and accidentally crunching it at the end of a bag. This is the salted caramel with cinnamon added on it. Really nice size kernels popped as well. I think this flavor is very sweet. The original, which is kind of like a American kettle corn, is probably the best, but I also don't mind like the little hint of cinnamon in this. That's a nice touch. And then this is the salted caramel flavor. So I think it's the same thing, just without the cinnamon. And yeah, exactly. But it is nice to have like a low calorie, still very sweet and still very tasty option for a popcorn snack late night or something like that. All right, now this one I'm very excited to try. So we have Billion bars in the US. They were out of stock for quite some time, but I believe they're coming back. And it was like one of my favorite protein bars I think I may have ever tried. Well, here in Europe, in Portugal, they have ice cream version of it. Okay, and I'm actually kind of surprised by the calories and macros here. So for a 100 gram serving, it's 256 calories with 14 grams of protein. I was really expecting it to be higher calorie and less protein. And even just popping the top and seeing that right there, the peanuts and chocolate, and you already know the ice cream's below, I'm excited to dive into this. All right, here we have it. The chocolate top, there's a layer of caramel underneath, there's peanuts in the chocolate, and then the vanilla ice cream down below. Wow. That is so good. The ice cream is delicious, but I mean, the chocolate, the peanuts, the caramel, that mix, really hard to beat in anything, but especially ice cream. I think the closest thing I can maybe compare it to is like a Snickers ice cream bar. Actually, you know what? I think it's actually a pretty good comparison to if like Snickers made an ice cream. I sadly don't think this is coming to the US anytime soon, but if it did, I would literally be eating this every single night. But the bars definitely are. So whenever you see these back in stock, do not wait, order them before they sell out, because I promise you they are the best tasting bars you've had in a long time. All right, and finally it's time for pastel de nata, which is a very traditional pastry here in Portugal. I actually got to try one earlier today in a market that's like one of the most famous ones here. It was delicious. This is from Prozis, and it is like half the calories. I think theirs is about 150, 160 calories. Normally they're about 250 to 300 calories with a ton less sugar. I think there's like a gram or 2 grams of sugar in this compared to, I don't know, maybe 40 or 30 in a normal one. So if this is anywhere close, that's pretty impressive. Here is how it's looking. It's very hot, but the flavor's really close. Like, it's really close. And I think this actually has a decent amount of cinnamon in it. Yeah, this is very close to like the true pastel de natas. The key to making a good one, so I've been told, is a combination of the pastry and the custard on the inside. And both the pastry and the custard on the inside taste very similar to the real thing. So yeah, very impressive to have this flavor with that amount of calories. All right, and all the desserts done between the chocolates, the popcorn, the pastry, the ice cream. Here's how I would rank it. The chocolates, very good. In fact, I like all of this stuff. I think the popcorn is probably the most normal or the most like believable. The chocolates were very good. These two, incredibly hard to choose between. This is more like an American traditional dessert that everyone would love. And the pastel de nata is so incredible they were able to recreate it for such low calories and such a true taste. All around, very impressed and honestly super jealous that Prozis has all of these offerings here in Portugal and all throughout Europe that we don't get in the US. And the only way to get them in the US is we gotta start using more of their products. They have to feel the market presence, and then they'll start investing more money over here. So I've enjoyed everything I've tried. If you guys could do me a favor, do Prozis a favor, check out the stuff that they are offering right now in the link down below. Start purchasing, start enjoying, and more is there to come. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, as always, hit a thumbs up button, and I'll be seeing you very shortly in the next one. Peace.
This the anthem. If you rockin' with it, put your hands up.